Hey guys, how's it going? You guys are early. I'm not quite ready yet. As you can see, I'm still designing this project. I typically start my project with a rough sketch. Depending on complexity, I move on to SketchUp, since that's easier to visualize, but this is sufficient today. Once that's done, I moved on to material selection. I wanted to complete this project with what I had on hand and started selecting the better of my stock of 2x4's. However, I realized I did not have enough better quality boards, so I ended up using all of the 2x4's I had on hand. After I had my selection, I moved over to the table saw to start milling the boards to size. I shave off an 1/8" thickness off of all 4 sides. Around a third of the boards I was using had a bit of warp to them, so unfortunately some of them ended up a little skinnier than others. With everything milled, I began gluing up the boards into 3 separate slabs. I had to do this over multiple glue-ups as I am fairly new to woodworking and only have a small amount of clamps. I glued up these 2 slabs and clamped them on both sides to ensure even clamping pressure, and left them to do their thing overnight. In hindsight, I maybe should have used dowels or biscuits or something to align the boards better. The next day I unclamped them and glued up the 3rd slab. Now that the slabs are glued up, I take my planer and begin to level out both sides of all 3 slabs. A thickness planer would have definitely not gone amiss in here. After the planing, I gave everything a once over with the belt sander. I apparently need some more practice with the belt sander. I'll show you later. Now that all of the slabs are leveled out, I true up one of the ends on all 3 slabs using a speed square and my circular saw. I figured it might be easier to apply the stain now while I could still easily access the whole slab, so I break out the palm sander and give everything another once over. Then I apply some ebony stain to all 3 slabs. The next day, after the stain had dried, I broke out the circular saw again and cut 2 of the slabs to their final length to make up the sides of my bookshelf. In hindsight, I should have supported the opposite end of the cutoff, so this didn't happen. But a little bit of wood glue and some cleanup sanding, and no one's the wiser. Except for the 3 of you that actually watched this video. While that was drying, I took the cutoffs and the remaining slab over to the miter saw and cut them down to the final length to make up the shelves of the bookshelf. Now that everything's cut to its final length, I begin to mark out the dados on both of the sides that will support the shelves. I hog out the majority of the material with the circular saw and speed square, and come back to clean out the dado with a chisel. A router would have also come in handy here. Something else to add to the shopping list. If this was a smaller project, I could have used the table saw and a crosscut sled. However, these pieces are a fair bit longer than I am comfortable balancing on my table saw. So in my opinion, the circular saw is safer and less likely to screw up my project. Or fingers. After the dados were cut through both sides, I made sure all of the shelves fit. To secure the shelves to the sides, I used glue and pocket screws. I installed all of the shelves on one side of the unit, flipped it over, and repeated the process. Here is where I found a bit of warp in the bookshelf. Fortunately, as I fastened in each shelf, I was able to clamp and twist everything into place as needed. Then I went through and touched up all of the stain. Once the new stain was dried, I began the first coat of polyurethane. This is what I talked about with the practice with the belt sander. I'm not sure what I did that caused this. If someone knows, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Overall, I did 3 coats of polyurethane with a light sanding of 220 grit between the 2nd and 3rd coats. Once that was cured, I brought it into my office to install. I'm bolting it to the wall with some leftover IKEA wall anchors. This is one of the more useful life hack things that I saw. If you fold a sticky note underneath where you were drilling into a wall, the debris will fall onto the sticky note, where you can just fold up the sticky note and throw it away all in one shot. Save time on cleanup. Since I'm only getting into one stud on this install, the other anchor will be a 2-inch long toggle bolt. Now it's time to load it up, get all these books and printers off my desk, and call it a project. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.